How are you, Bobby?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Von Miller getting signed. I'm curious what you thought about bringing him on here and what he can add.
I thought it was great, man. It's exciting to get somebody whose career has been magnificent, been fun to watch, fun to learn from. Excited to get to learn from him in person. A guy that I think still has a lot left in the tank. Someone offenses have to respect just because of his ability to get to the quarterback. And somebody just fun to be around, great person, great guy, going to be great in our locker room. So I'm excited.
What kind of impact, even if it's a limited role, what kind of impact can he have just as a pass rusher and on those around him?
Honestly, it's just his work ethic. You see a great come out and how he works every single day, how he prepares and what he can give to the other guys, old and young. Like he can really help his team a lot.
From talks with Jaden and observations, what have you picked up on as far as his desire and what he's put in time to grow and build on last season?
I think the coolest thing is, I think he had a really, really good season last year, but I don't think he's satisfied with where that's at. I think that's the biggest thing is, he has a chance to be a really, really good quarterback, and you can see that the way he prepares, the way he's locked in, the way he's focused, and that's the biggest thing. He's just locked in, he's ready to go, and, I'm excited to see, where he takes it, to a new level.
Hey, Bobby.
Hello.
Could you talk a little bit about the linebacker room as far as the younger guys, the Jordan McGee's? What have you seen in him in his second year of the OTAs heading into 2025?
Yeah, he's a, guy that everybody is, watching and seeing in his growth, understanding the defense. I think the biggest step for a younger guy, when you first come into the league, you don't know what to expect. You don't know, the plays. You don't know how the league is, things of that nature, and you get a full season, and you get to come in and just focus on being the best linebacker, not everything else that comes with the game. And so I think that's been the biggest thing is watching him, prepare, watching him, really get comfortable and confident within the defense. So, I'm excited to see where he's going to take it.
Hey, Bobby, I think that I got you that time. I think some news just came out about a new role that you have with the Seattle Storm. So I didn't know if you were going to share that.
Yeah, so I'm a minority owner of the Storm. I'm really excited to be a part of the W and the WNBA. I think it's a great time. I think, I've always watched them from afar, being in Seattle. And so I'm really excited to be able to be a part of the growth and, stay connected to a community that I still love.
Storm still. You have a relationship with Magic Johnson. Obviously, he's got history in the NBA ownership space. Over here. Bobby?
Hey. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. So you have that relationship with Magic Johnson. Obviously, he has experience as an NBA owner. Did you talk to him, get any advice from him before buying into the Storm?
For sure. I definitely talked to him. He's been a really big mentor of mine. He's helped me out so much. So he's definitely a guy, I ran this idea across before I made the decision. And, he was a huge help because he's done it. He's done it at a high level. So that's definitely somebody I lean into and really think about that. Thank you.
Bobby over here. Good to see you as always. Year 14. What is your why? Always curious when I ask athletes, what is your why?
I just want to be great, honestly. I think I don't really have – no, I don't. I'm not going to be a coach when I'm done. So, my job is to, push this thing as far as I could take it and, pass down all the knowledge that I have, while I'm here. So I want to make the people around me better, and I really want to, take this however far I could take it.
Hey, Bobby. As a veteran, as a guy who's been around the NFL for a long time, you've negotiated a number of contracts. You've dealt with the business of football, not necessarily specific to Terry per se, but what's your impressions of the business of football and how players and ownership groups and teams go through that process each time? I
think everybody's different. You know what I mean? I think everybody ownership group looks at it differently. Obviously, every player has a different agent. So that agent's, strategy is different. I would encourage guys to really dive into the business side of the game, because I feel like, especially now, like you grow up and you have an agent, guys are getting agents earlier now. And so you have this middleman that is basically taking care of everything for a long time. And, things that I see when guys retire is that middleman kind of goes away, and this sport that you played or that endorsement that you had your whole career, you never took the time to understand how that business was run, and you lose that relationship because the relationship was with the with the agent or with the third party that was helping you. So, I understand we get endorsement deals. I understand we have deals with different teams, but I encourage guys to not only learn the business, but make sure you're the one that has that relationship as well, not just whoever's working for you.
Just to follow up on that, it's really interesting. Did you previously have an agent? When did you decide to start doing everything yourself?
I had an agent when I came out. I had an agent, I think, until maybe 2016 or 19, one of the two. But from like most of my biggest deals, I did, and I just it was my version of obviously I'm playing the sport all the time, and so it was my version of taking a chance in the business world, and I took a chance with myself.
Thank you. The question I wanted to ask, congrats on NFL Top 100. You've had so many personal accolades. What does it mean for you to see Frankie get that accolade?
Man, that was amazing because, I've always watched Frankie from afar, when he was with the Jets, Panthers, like you watched. And, unfortunately, those teams weren't as good, so they didn't get the media, didn't get the attention. So, finally seeing how great of a player he is, his ability to rush the passer, his ability to get sacks, his ability to, pass coverage, and not just that, like his leadership and what he brings to this team and this city. It was really cool to see him finally get the recognition he deserved.
Bobby, is it a concern in the locker room that a veteran presence who's such a pro isn't here, or is it just kind of normal?
I think guys like to, at least myself, it's a business. And so some of the business is not your business, you know what I mean? And so, you let them take care of the things they need to take care of, and you focus on yourself, but understand that, he's still a part of the team. He's still somebody that is a huge presence in his locker room. He's an amazing figure in this community and this locker room, somebody that we're excited, to have whenever the business gets worked out. And so you just sit there and you wait and you hope that something gets done, and that's what you do. And when it gets done, you celebrate, and you bring them in, and we move on. Like, that's really how it is. And so, we talking about a real number, and so let business take care of business, and it's going to take care of itself however it's supposed to.
Bobby, with regard to Vaughn, you've had to go through this yourself the last few years. As a player gets older, I know that on the outside, people may say, well, they can't do this anymore. But you learn so much more through experience and through your work ethic and through understanding the game better. Where does that marriage come as a player gets older to understand there's still a lot that you can contribute to a team?
Some of it, I think, is the media's perception of what old is. Because if you say 35 in any other industry, we're considered super young. But, 35 in this industry, you almost think that we like 200 years old or something. So I think it's the media pushing, in my opinion, that narrative. But, where that marriage comes is it's always kind of funny if you watch a guy that's been in the game for a long time that understands, and you watch like a rookie, there's not that many steps, because you know where the ball's going. So he might take 10 steps to get to where he needs to, while I'll just take 2. And so I don't waste motion. I don't waste movement. And so that's kind of where that comes. It's like, you hear checks, you hear different things, and you can make up from maybe some of the speed or whatever by just knowing where the ball's going. And so this guy that's moving quick and moving this and doing that, you beat him to the spot, just because you know where the spot's at faster than he is. So I've always thought this game has been, more mental than physical. And as you get older, you got to use your mind.
Bobby, why do players want to come play for Dan Quinn?
Man, that's a great question. I just think he's an amazing leader. He's a guy that wants to see you be the best version of yourself, not like be anything else but yourself. Like he wants you to be whatever that looks like, whatever the best version of yourself is. He encourages that, and not a lot of places do that. A lot of places want to change you or have you conform to what their idea of what a good player looks like to them. So when you come around a coach that wants you to be yourself and wants you to be the best version of yourself, he cares. He understands that this game is not just a game. There's other things like personal, family, different things that go on that play a role. If your life off the field is not in order, it will affect your on the field. And, when you have a guy that understands passionately that, you have a life outside of this game, and he wants to help that side too. Everybody wants to play for somebody like that. And so no matter where it's at too, players would travel to the East Coast for him.
To follow up on the earlier question about Jaden going into his second season, from the other side of the ball, where do you see his biggest potential areas of growth? Coming off what was a pretty exceptional rookie year.
I always thought he was really smart. I think the biggest thing, I think he'll, in my opinion, I think the confidence will grow, and the understanding what teams are trying to do, the mixing of coverages, the different looks. I think, I haven't been in college in a long time, but I'm pretty sure defense in the NFL is a little bit more complex. And so having a year to watch yourself playing against these defenses, I think is going to serve him really good, and I think he's going to make a big, big leap. And that's why I'm excited by our team is everybody has something, something that, somebody's doubting, or something that says you can't do this, or, and it makes everybody hungry. And I think a team full of guys like that has something to prove and, something to show the world is a fun team to be on.
You mentioned trying to learn from Vaughn. I mean, as somebody's going into season 14?
14.
How do you, and with all you've accomplished, how do you still find little pockets, little areas to continually improve?
I mean, I think there's always something in your game that you can improve. I think there's things that maybe you do well, you can do better. There's things that you don't do well that you can do better. And so I think that's just the mindset. I remember being a younger guy, and Coach Norton would put on tape of Von Miller's get-off, and we would watch that tape for KJ and some of the other guys that were playing Sam, just how fast his get-off was. And, that was the first thing that you noticed when you were out here, just, how different his get-off is. It's just, again, to the point earlier, is he has a really good beat on when the ball's going to be snapped. And whether you are old or young, like, that is mental. That is training. That is, getting off the snap for a really, really long time and at a really high level. And some of those things you just can't teach. You can go as young as you want, but some things are just God-given, and you can't teach that. And, older players have it too.
I agree that 35 is not old at all. But how do you, as your body evolves, as you, more wear and tear, how do you find ways to balance what you're doing now at this point in training camp to make sure you're still fresh for the season and hopefully postseason?
I think that's the myth, in my opinion. I think I heard Peyton Manning say it one time, is like, as he got older, he had to work more. And so that's really the thing that you fight, is you fight the idea that as you get older, you have to do less. But everybody is telling you to do less. Analytics is telling you to do less. Coaches is telling you to do less, like, to preserve your body. But it's all about training and keeping your body at a tip-top shape. and I think that's the biggest thing. One thing I do want to add, I'm just a part of the Storm. Magic was a big part of me doing that, but Kobe was a really big part of doing that. Shout out to Sherm. He was somebody that I was fortunate enough to meet, before he passed. And Sherm knew how big of a Kobe fan I was, and so he set up that meeting. And so I watched what Kobe was doing, for women's basketball and the WNBA and what he was trying to do. And me being a fan and me being somebody that watched him and watched some of the business moves that he made, this was something that was important to me because it's almost like trying to pick up, where he left off. Obviously, I'm not him whatsoever, but, I could do my part because I think, women's sports is amazing. I have daughters. I have, sisters, and it's important to, really be a part of change, and I want to be on the right side of change. And so, Kobe's legacy is something that I take a lot of pride in, and I really, feel a type of way about how people have been talking about him lately. He is if not, the best player of all time. And, nobody can defend him, or he can't defend himself because he's not here, unfortunately. But he got guys like myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people that will defend his legacy until as long as I'm here. So, all the people that's trying to take away from his greatness, shame on you. You should have said it when he was here. But he was a big part of this as well because, I watched what he was doing for women's sports from afar, and, him being somebody that I looked up to. It's only right for me to, try to do my part in continuing that legacy. So that was important to say. Yeah.
Is this the start of more investment into women's sports by you?
I've already done a lot. This is probably the most, probably public that I've done. But I've invested in women entrepreneurs, women-led funds. I invest in a fund that is solely women and women's sports, women in tech and women's sports. So this is not my only investment. This is just the one that you guys see. But I've already kind of been doing it. It's the one that, gets talked about more than others. This is probably like maybe 5 or 6 months ago, give or take. I got connected and through a good friend, and we just kind of talked about it. And, they knew how much Seattle means to me and the city means to me. And I've always watched them from afar. Playing in Seattle, obviously what they were doing on the basketball court, but the most impressive stuff that for me was what they were doing off the field, off the court. They were all of the initiative, all of the help, anything in the community. I would say they were the first to do it, and so I don't know if we said it enough. They inspired our organization a lot, and so I'm really excited to be a part of an organization that has been inspiring me for a long time. Cool. Thank you.